Yo, what's up, guys? I'm on my way back from meetings in DC and New York this week, and I am really disturbed by how this Brown shooting narrative is progressing. There was a mass shooting at Brown University, and even though they initially said we have a suspect, they have now released that suspect, so they got the wrong guy, and nobody has any answers. More importantly, we now know one of the victims was Ella Cook. She was the vice president of the College Republicans. She was a Christian advocate on campus, one of the less than 0.8% of Brown University, one of the most liberal universities in the world that self-identifies as a conservative. She was also studying with some of her conservative friends inside of the library. Now, this is really starting to look like a targeted political assassination. That's what everybody in my timeline is saying, and it certainly has, like, what are the probabilities of this? There are thousands and thousands of students at Brown University. Less than 0.8% of them are conservative, yet this gunman attacked just the table of conservatives. And again, they haven't been able to find this individual. They have 800 different security cameras at Brown University. They haven't released any of the footage. This was all caught on camera. They've released zero footage, photos, documentation, nothing, persons of interest. The one individual that they said, who was an engineering student, everyone was very strange, but he's been released. Ella Cook is someone who was a well-known conservative activist, and people are now comparing this to Charlie Kirk and saying this is, again, political violence from the left. Again, you're gonna have to Occam's razor this thing, but truly, what are the chances that it's the conservative leader herself that gets targeted here? That's what people are saying. It's a tragedy. Obviously, there's an outpouring of support on social media. The College Republicans have commented on this and have confirmed that this is the case. And everybody now is saying, what the hell is going on with Brown University, the state of Rhode Island, and the people who are running this institution? Why are they not releasing the evidence? Why are they not releasing videos? Why are they not doing what we've seen in other law enforcement manhunts? So there's nobody that's been identified, nobody that's been caught. This is a massive issue. Here's the incompetent, rage-inducing press conference from local authorities.
Shortly, we will be releasing the person of interest who had been detained earlier today, and the Attorney General can speak a little bit about the rationale for that, but we want to inform the community that individual will shortly be released from Providence Police.
So if you're keeping track here, it is a $71,000 a year university. There are 816 cameras on campus. The shooter was on campus for hours. 2 students are dead, including the leader of the conservative group on campus, and multiple other students are injured. 0 photos of the suspect. 0 videos of the suspect. Nothing. Tell me that doesn't seem like a cover-up to you, or like somebody is trying to prevent the true narrative from getting out there. Also, according to eyewitnesses, the gunman yelled at something. We don't know what they yelled. So I'm sure you can guess, right? Like, what exactly is that going to be? This is the president of Brown University effectively saying, we got nothing.
President, with all due respect, 6 hours after this shooting, and you said you don't know what was going on in that classroom? How does that happen? Were they taking an exam? Were they meeting for a club?
I don't know.
6 hours later, and you're the president, and you don't know?
I do not know.
Well, that's kind of concerning.
I don't know what else to do in these situations, but be angry. I'm angry. It is incredibly dangerous out there for Republicans, conservatives, people that are American first. It's something that is, I fear, going to get worse as assassination culture accelerates on the left, because they're able to see the end result and no action, right? No pushback societally or culturally. In fact, instead you get people lying about their motives and who you are. So worry about it. say a prayer for Ella Cook's family, the other victim, who at this point remains unnamed. And here's a former FBI agent talking about what may be happening with the evidence here and how completely embarrassing this is for Brown University. Why would you ever send your kid to an institution like this? Here we go.
I'm glad you mentioned video, because let's go to Brown. The shooting there at Brown University, the person of interest that they had, that they didn't necessarily broadcast to the world, but people found out who this individual was. That guy was released. It seems like this is the only camera video footage we have. This is a tremendously large university. How is that possible, Brian?
It's very disappointing as a homicide detective. When you hear a homicide happened on a college campus, you think this is a place that's going to have a lot of video evidence, might even have license plate readers. And for this to be the best piece of video that they have so far, it's very disappointing. PR-wise, putting out that you have a person of interest. Now you know why that police departments don't like to put this kind of stuff out. Yes, they had a person of interest. They didn't need to put that out. Now they had to let that person go. And it didn't seem to me like they're going to arrest that person again in the future. It seems to me like that is not the person. The police are confident of that. What does that tell the community? There is an unstable shooter out there, and this is such a unique situation. In mass shootings, very often the suspect is proud of it, or they'll talk about it on social media, and it's followed up with a suicide. So this is odd for detectives to move forward. Some forensic value may be in the scene, certainly ballistic value. I'm sure they've already collected the ballistic value out there. Ballistic value, I mean, they have slugs, possibly shell casings that help determine what type of firearm was used, but that's about it right now, unless they can get more video. And I'm sure the Providence Police Department has a real-time crime center. And what is that? That is a technology center where they're able to process large amounts of video evidence and get the best video out there and get it to their investigators and any other stuff they can find out in the technology center to get it to their homicide detectives.
With the release of this person of interest back into the community, do you believe, as we sit here, 5:20 on a Monday morning, that the FBI and Providence PD know exactly who they're looking for, or do you think they're still investigating to try to figure out who did this?
Nope. I don't think they know who it is. And I've sat here and said that I've in other cases where I think, yeah, they know who it is. They're going to get them very, very shortly. This is an odd situation when they put that information out. I watched the press conference. I know what cops say and don't say in these press conferences. And to this point, it seems to me they have very little to go on in regards to this investigation. And I hope they're able to, fine tune that in the coming hours or as the morning unfolds.
Do we need to harden soft targets like colleges and universities?
No brainer. How is Brown University have that lack of video evidence? I'm certain in Hartford we would go to places that didn't have great video, big businesses, campuses, hospitals, and say, you need to improve your video. A crime happens there and you realize the video is bad. You tell them, please improve your video in case there's something we can help. This had to have occurred at Brown at one time or another. They were likely aware they did not have a lot of video cameras around. This is a campus inside a city. You'd think that place would be blanketed with video. To this point, from what I'm seeing, it is not.
Brian Foley, you always give us real answers, not cop talk, and we appreciate that because it allows the viewer to really understand what's going on and what's not going on.
Thanks,
it's always a pleasure, Brian. Thank you.
Likewise.